Hi and welcome to Mind of a Black Sheep. Dive into a mind that rejects the current status quo and is determined to bring about change one step at a time. Today we will talk about the collective imagination that keeps us trapped in our false assumption of reality. Section 1. The Unreliable Mind. Follow me on a thought experiment. Imagine being teleported to the 1930s. What do you see? Men in trench coats, pipes in mouth and top hats. Some with monocles, speaking in the Queen's English, riding around in cars that look like this. And for some reason, it's all in black and white. Isn't it funny? I'd like to end this thought experiment here because it has achieved its purpose. The 1930s in my head is not of my making. It's a product of the media I've consumed. Think Peaky Blinders and the like. The point of this experiment is that an era I never experienced has a place in my imagination, implanted there by media consumption. This function of our brain is incredible. It can create its own internal world from the external world, explained in the book The Structure of Magic. With the ability our mind has to create fantasy, perceive reality and more, our minds are amazing. However, one thing they're not is reliable. The world reality is too big for our minds to hold. There's too much information and not enough memory to store it. So to cope with that, our minds filter reality through three processes. 1. Generalization. This is the process of drawing broad conclusions from specific experiences. For example, if you meet one rude person from a particular city and then assume that everyone from that city is rude, you're generalizing based on a single encounter. 2. Deletion. This involves omitting certain details from our perception of reality. For instance, if you receive a performance review that includes both positive and negative feedback, but you only focus on the negative comments, you are deleting the positive aspects from your awareness. 3. Distortion. This is the alteration of reality by exaggerating or misrepresenting certain aspects. For example, if you see a friend who seems distant and you conclude that they must be upset with you, you are distorting the reality of the situation without sufficient evidence. These filters shape our reality, creating our own internal world. Because of this characteristic of the mind, it's unreliable and has a model of reality, not reality as it is. Section 2. The harmful world we have created. The mind is the source of all thought and emotion, leading to action. As I said previously, the model of the world our minds create is the model within which we operate. This model is reality to our minds, so the implications of this fact are quite interesting. Knowledge of this can give one insight into the workings of their mind and gain more control. However, there's also a dark side to this. It means the world as it is could be different. I'd say it ought to be different. The collective imagination we partake in is destructive to us, but since we don't see it because the model is seen as reality when it isn't. For example, nation-states going to war against each other for economic reasons, both concepts are products of the model. Money isn't real, and nationality isn't real either. Think of the amount of suffering we inflict on ourselves and on each other because we engage in this sick, divisive, collective imagination. All religious wars, all world wars, even the current culture wars, fighting against ghosts. We're acting on the model of reality, not reality itself. From my point of view, it's easy to see how this cycle, collective imagination to action, reinforces our false model of reality, leaving us like a frog in the boiling pot. We create borders and then fight to defend them, creating this vicious cycle that traps us like a cult. But the good news is that this mechanism in our psyche can be used to our advantage in our personal lives as we take strides to change the world. Section 3. Breaking free from indoctrination. This might be the hardest undertaking anybody bold enough to take this step has ever taken. It's slow, uncomfortable, and unfamiliar. Breaking the chains that limit your mind almost feels like eating from the forbidden fruit. And yes, you will surely die, but to be resurrected anew with a fuller, more comprehensive interaction with reality. The you right now might be unrecognizable to you after the chains are broken. Your wants and your emotions might change. It's a scary process to question all you've ever known. Watch any documentary on living in a cult or apostatizing from a deeply religious community. That would be you during this process. It would take a long time, you'll probably return to what's comfortable a few times, but you'll reach enlightenment. I'll say the journey is worth it. You owe yourself the truth, your real self, instead of living the dreams of dead men. Section 4. Rebuild reality. This is a forever process. Once you've broken your world, it's broken forever. You now have control, or are working on controlling your model of reality, allowing you to operate at your very best and live your truth. It's a constant process of breaking and rebuilding that allows you to grow in the direction of your guidance. I'll drop more videos explaining how to create a new model of reality for yourself, how to break free from societal and self-inflicted harm on the mind that keeps you trapped, doing the same thing over and over. Subscribe, like and share. Turn notifications on to be alerted anytime I drop content.